Hi, everybody. I wanted to give you a short little intro before getting into the video here today because I'm trying something a bit different because within my company, The Butterfly Within, I support people in different ways. Primarily, I focus within education. However, I also have avenues in which well-being supports that is outside of education that I tap into my trainings and experiences that has more of like an interconnection space and more of a spiritual space that I wanted to create an area on my YouTube to invite um, insights, reflections about quote unquote life experiences. And I've been sharing my own personal experiences and teachings lately. And with the feedback I've been given, I think I want to try this avenue um, to really like inspire and invite action for and reflection for. So for the video today, a couple of caveats. So one is I want to make it very clear, again, as I just stated, so this video and these types of videos are not meant for education. This is not the side of my company that I um, connect to education through. This is for my personal coaching clients that are working through their personal growth and development through transformational coaching in that aspect. This is for my yoga clients or other well-being practices that are really focusing on personal development and reflection, as well as my networks here. And hopefully, if you have connected to this video, you are now a part of my network and are inspired. That really help in growing like our heart space. And I view this typically through heart-centered change makers. Yes, I have that part within my company, The Butterfly Within, for education, but heart-centered change makers are also outside of education. And so I want to make sure that I'm holding space for these different avenues that I support and different people and clients that I support. So again, just making this very clear, these videos and this video is not meant for education. And also in this video, there are a couple things that really take us into more of like a deeper realm of reflection. And I also want to put it out there too. In the beginning of this video, I do even connect with my children's book. And I'm not stating that my children's book is specific to the insights that I shared during this reflection, but it was a part of my reflection about transformation that we are transforming as a society. And so the question about what's going on in our world is a very interesting, deep question that different spiritual practices can help us understand what is happening. And so I, in this video, break down those different pieces and components and practices and teachings that can help us understand as we move through this evolution as a society, as humanity in general. So I invite you to make yourself comfortable for our learning and growing together. And again, know that this is for supporting my other clients that are not specifically connected to education. And I'm stating this here multiple times because the content in which this moves into and with is not something that we would be putting in education by any means. So I want to make it very clear that the work that I do specific within education and well-being within education is aligned that part of my work to education, not these videos and not this content. Thank you. And I look forward to growing together today. With our world, and I think we'll just kind of start right in there. if you look at the pattern of where we've been, there's a lot going on. And I always come back to the butterfly. And I'm a children's book author, and that was also something that inspired me to create. And that is where, when we get those inspirations to help ourselves, and we do it for ourselves and our soul, that then helps everyone else who's around us. And I ended up creating a children's book. And at the time, I didn't exactly know why I created it. But now that it's been around for about 4 years now, because I wrote this during the pandemic, it really has solidified the true reason behind this is honestly what I think my purpose is to help humanity in general transform to that next level. We are going through a transformation. We are evolving as a species. And we have gone through those stages of the butterfly, and we've been in the chrysalis for a long time. And when we're in the chrysalis, that is where the entire body of the caterpillar turns to goop. And that goop is called imaginal cells. And I always come back to that, and the word imagine is in there, and how we get to create our reality. We get to create what's next and what's new, so that after that chrysalis phase, we move into that butterfly phase. And obviously the cycle continues, and we'll come back and around, but at the next level. So we are at this point as a species, as humanity, where we are up leveling ourselves. We are up leveling our consciousness. And so I am definitely intrigued by all of different spiritual teachers. So like I read different spiritual texts and just really connect to see like, okay, like what's the commonality? What are the patterns that are there, and what helps us tap into the next level? And it's been really interesting. I'd say the last, I mean, for a long time, but for me and my awareness, the last probably year has been very interesting. And I'm recording this in 2024, and there's a lot happening. And it is so fascinating, the path in which we have been and where we are going. And like I'm looking down here because I have my different books that are down here that just like they are inspiring to me, because it's almost like the path that has been created for us to basically like wake up and recognize over time. And you know, we have like, for example, like this book is about like the Yoga Sutras, and this is basically like ways of being and like how we can show up into the world. And then we have like, I'm going to pull in like the Bible. I've been trying to read this and understand like perspectives of even within the Bible. And the basically this is the wake up call of, we are able to within ourselves be who we need to be and take action, and it is all within us. Then we have like, you know, Global Heart Awakens, which then connects to the chakra system that's within us. And for those of you who that may be new for, it is a different practice that and understanding that within us there are these energy points, especially along our spine, that directly connect to basically the evolution of us as a human being. But what this book is sharing, and Anodea Judith is not the only one who has mentioned this, this is just one example, is basically stating that our society has been going through its own chakra system, basically. And I'll mention more about that in a moment. And I'll just finish because these books were just the ones that I had on top that I pulled. Like there are so many more, but they were the ones that spoke to me today. And then, like, for example, this one, New Humanity from Il-Chi Li, like, we are going and we are creating a new humanity. Like, we have outgrown the caterpillar. We are now in the chrysalis. We are uncovering these parts within ourselves so that we can then become who we're supposed to be in the world as an entire collective, as a species. It seems like a lot and crazy, perhaps, but it's not crazy. It is where we are at. And so that's where like these insights have been coming to me for this evolution. And I guess maybe I'll go into that evolution too. So I had pulled my my chakra candle here just because it's a visual, okay, so that we can understand, especially if this is something that is new or intriguing to you. So when we look back in time, and when we first began to be humans, like that was really connecting to our root, and that is survival. That is, you know, how does my body work and connect to really the ground, and rooting down to that. It really is that survival place. And that's where, like, as humans, we were living to survive. And then decades and years go on, and then we began to move into the second chakra space. And what this really connects to is creation and the flow of creating. And this is when different groups of people started to create together. They started to realize, you know, I can create like even a bow and arrow, and it helps me. Like, how can I create things into the world? Then as we are surviving, we're creating, we are then moving into the third chakra space. And this is where we've been. This is where we are, but there's a tipping point here, because what happened, and we've been here for a very long time, what has happened here is we've created civilizations that then needed, quote unquote, order. We needed to have structures put in place. And what the third chakra space is about power. And we need to tap into the power. We need to have, you know, different pieces in place to help us thrive together. But what has happened is this has gotten over charged. And with the overcharged piece, we then fell in love with power. And as that love continued, it began to become, and it became an obsession. And I will mention this because it is going to come back up in this conversation or lesson today. But this is where we are at. But we are moving into now the heart space. The third chakra is connected really to the masculine energy. The heart chakra is connected to the feminine energy. And what I mean by that does not mean man and woman. What I mean by that is it's the energy. This is like a force energy that comes down, and this is a giving energy that comes up, and it is how it also moves within the body. The fourth chakra is also right in the middle. This then is the space that integrates the lower with the upper. And as an integrator, we then are able to open our hearts that then move from the love of power to the power of love, as Anna Dea shares in her book and other teachers as well. Now I'm going to pause here for just a moment because this transition, you have to think about it. Being able to, it's not necessarily release power, but you also got to think about that as humans too. Once people have like this sense of power, it's almost like with that obsession, they can't give it up. And then to give it up, quote unquote, to the heart, where this fears being seen as, again, I'm going to keep quote unquote weak or inferior, which is definitely not true, because guess what? This is even higher. And love is more powerful than fear, than anything else that the third chakra brings. Are you already seeing any connections here? Because in our world today, there's a clear connection between this happening, which is why I'm very fascinated by this and these insights come. I don't know. All right. So now with the heart, because as that's the middle, once we get to 4 and we move into 5, then the rest happen. And there's actually more than 7. These are just the 7 that are within the body. So this then moves into the 5th chakra space, which is the throat chakra space, which then opens up our voice. And it also connects with the creation, because what we speak becomes reality. And when we become aware of the words and what we are creating, being aware of where that's being created from. And we want that to be created from the heart space. And then as we have evolved, or we will be evolving as a species, continue up, then this becomes the 6th chakra space, which is within the body. And the 6th chakra space is vision. It is, again, that purpose, that why, and we can see clearly what it is that we are supposed to do and be as a human. And then the 7th chakra space, this chakra is about basically connecting to that higher purpose and the bigger beyond us. And once we connect here, that then creates that spiritual connection where everything then is able to flow and be. And it's not stating that one is better or more than the other. We need them all, but we've been stuck in the lowers. So it's going to take courage and action. And I call this through as heart-centered change makers, that yes, I really focus mainly within like empowering those who empower others to be the change makers in the world. That is across settings. And my vision is to help empower everybody to see that within them, that they can make the change for their true self. Chakras aside, it's just, again, an interesting concept that several spiritual teachers, past, present, and future, have and will share. So then when we're thinking about right now, and, for me, I'm based in the US, and right now we have a lot happening. And, I was doing just like that reflection of these things that, currently are showing us that we are ready, and we are at this critical time to choose which route we are going to take as our evolution. And it's the choice is in our hands. Like, we are all called to do this work, whether you've accepted the call, see the call, know the call or not. You're a human. And I also want to recognize too that as a human, we are both connected to nature, and we are also connected to whatever you want to call this bigger purpose, this bigger than you. And as a human, we are between those worlds. So, or not necessarily worlds, but like parts. And we literally stand in between that. Again, the many spiritual teachers have mentioned this. So then as we continue to kind of reflect on like this innate purpose that we have as human, this innate awareness that we have as humans, we are working on activating that because it has been covered for a very long time. And for some, or perhaps there's even things that we obviously have yet to uncover that we can do. And also with artificial intelligence that is now coming, has been as you know as well, even though it's shaping itself a bit differently. It's already been here with us for a while, but we have to tap into what makes us human. And this is at the core of what differentiates us from AI. And so, yeah, there's so much here, and I'm sure there'll be more videos. But there's a couple more pieces I want to share. So, when we're looking at within the chrysalis, we had the pandemic, which that's that goopy time where we literally went inward during that time, and it was a call to really tap in. And we actually saw a larger spike in the amount of people who then started to ask these deeper questions and travel further inward. And so from there, within the pandemic, that really brought this common experience as humanity together that was across the entire world. And interestingly, there are some different energy pieces of that. And I do want to mention too that it was called coronavirus. Corona means crown, just mentioning. We also have like all of the, especially in the US, like there's a lot of violence, the gun violence that is happening. And again, it's just this call to realize like this is not who we are as humans. This is not our natural way of being. We have been in an artificial way of being. We are coming back to our natural state. And there's resistance, okay? There is resistance during that. It's a change. The change process is very tricky. And then we have our systems that are like starting to really crumble and just a question there because they're going through a transformation, because the systems have been founded within the lower space as they are shifting into an upper space. The Olympics this year, I believe, were really the catalyst to show that wake-up call again, like, look, there is more to life than winning. And again, the third chakra space, the Olympics were unlike any others that we've had. The Olympics were the middle ground where there was an equal number of men and women, the integrator of the masculine and feminine energy, the behaviors of the athletes that were from the heart space. It's interesting. Okay. Then not only that, and the fact that within the Olympics, we literally carry the torch, and it's connecting everyone from around the world. So it's another connection that everybody is a part of. And that we literally carry a flame, and the flame ignites what's next. Okay. Now, there's other meanings behind like the actual Olympics themselves, but if you take the other meanings that are happening, it's very interesting. And so, really, to me, I felt like it ignited what is coming, even with more velocity, and even with the full moon that then aligned itself within the Olympic rings, and that means then getting ready for that cycle to shift. And here we are, pulling these again, the election. It has been very fascinating for me to watch. And I have not been this active about politics before, though I will say, as an educator, I was trained to not share my viewpoint. I was trained to keep silent. I was trained to basically stifle and silence myself. So the fact that now I'm outside of education and even doing this video and talking about all these things that I would have probably never shared with anybody before, but this is what happens in my mind. So welcome to it. But this is what's happening in the election. You have the epitome, what is really called like a persona, the archetype. Archetypes are basically personas that we use to help guide life. And there's several of them, but we have different types of personas that I'm just going to use for a moment here. And you have one side that is so power driven and such an extreme level. It is representing where we are at as a society and where we've been, with the most extreme, like in your face example of, is this what you want? And the power, the love of power, and like this is blowing my mind, people. And this is okay. Then you have the other side, which is the epitome and the archetype of the heart, and of everything, the inclusivity, the diversity, the belonging, the love. Like, it is literally in our face of this choice of where we are and where we can be. And it is a choice. I'm not trying to bring politics in here, but I'm just sharing with you, this is what is happening in the world. And we as humans, regardless of this, the election or not, there is a choice. You have the choice to see what kind of world you want to create. Now, again, these I'm just representing as like, they're still human too, both these people. They're both human, and humans still are imperfect, but we are imperfectly perfect in those ways. And, humans are still connected together regardless of whatever side there is. Now I'm going to remove the humans from that and just show you these. And you can make that choice of what kind of world you want to create, because I will mention, and the spiritual teachers say, if we continue down a third chakra path, that leads us to destruction eventually. If we choose a path of the heart, we have the ability to shift and change and help and grow where our world is as a species as we evolve. So, again, this like fascinates me. And I do hope, that, I may not be able to see it in my lifetime, but I hope that humanity continues to wake up, and enough of us wake up. And like, for example, Il Chile has mentioned 100 million Earth citizens like waking up is really that pivotal point. It's not every, like, we are humans and we all have different perspectives. Like, for like example, if I show you this, and you're like, oh, like it's a board. It's brown. It's got a sticker on it. And I say, no, it's not. It's white and it has like different marks on it. It's just a perspective. And we are entitled to our perspectives. But we are also entitled to be actually humans and the parts of us, especially our heart, to soften it and connect with it. Like, when was the last time that you connected to your heart and you actually felt within your body? Our bodies are communicating with us all the time. And that's really where my second book, that one, The Superpower of Your Heart, where that one is really structuring and helping us to have a routine in place to make decisions through the heart. Again, I did not make these connections when I was writing them or creating them. This is my insight that is here that I'm sharing today. So literally now is an important time. And what a gift it is to be alive right now, to actually have the ability to help shift us as a human species, all of us. And yeah, I just want to see here if there's anything else that I want to share with everybody. Yeah. I think I feel complete sharing this. And I guess the part of this message is recognizing that there is a lot happening, that we've been in the chrysalis moving to the butterfly, that we don't have to do it alone. We are in this together, that we have a choice, and that over time we can see the evolution and to choose, that we have the ability to choose the heart. And I hope that this message resonates with you. And if you have any questions or thoughts, I welcome them. And also, like, through the feedback, and just opening up this conversation. So thank you all. I look forward to continuing to share with you in different capacities. Like I said, I really like to focus in helping heart-centered change makers to grow themselves, and especially those who have influence with people. And it doesn't necessarily incorporate all of these different pieces, but I just wanted to share some of these parts of my reflections that I have too in my own life. So take care for now, and always know that the butterfly within me sees, honors, and values the butterfly within you.